we would do the video from the car today.
Something a little bit different.
Yeah. And also, it's one of those things, we've got quite a long car journey, so why don't we film?
So pass the time, and it saves us doing later when we get home.
Absolutely. So, welcome back to our channel. Today, we are going to be talking about our 2022 plan and what we're going to do on YouTube, and sort of about how we're going to live our life now, really.
Yeah, because it's going to be, I think, very, very different to what we're used to living, really. And I think it's all kind of positive changes and what we think is the best way to live our life.
And I think we've had discussions, and we really wanted to plan this properly and not do the sort of new year, new me thing, because it's the same us.
No, and that's the thing. Like, so I don't set resolutions, and I never have done. And I think if I've done any, then they've always been broken. I think I've just always just done it on a whim. Right, I'm going to do this as a New Year resolution. So that's why I'm really hesitant to set any. So I think going forward, I'd rather, if I was going to change anything, I'd rather do something that I can kind of implement, kind of like as a long-term thing.
Yeah.
That's going to be in our lives.
So we had long discussions, and we decided that the thing that we wanted to try and achieve was be a little bit more conscious, like living in the moment and realistic with everything that we do. So whether that be our living, our eating, exercise, budgeting. So we've really decided that that is something that feels more realistic to us. So not looking at the weight loss aspect at all, because that doesn't bother us.
No.
Not looking at the we're not trying to pay debts back, or we're not saving for like huge things like deposits or anything, but we're just realistically living on our salaries and living in as a family, and just trying to be good at stuff. And that's I mean,
and
it's
I think just being mindful of everything as well.
I think it just, for me, feels like what we see on the internet a lot of the time, and I think all of the people that I see online, not all of them, but there's a lot of them, it always feels quite unachievable to have what they have, and everything seems perfect. And like, if you look at, for example, Mrs. Hinch, like everything's just sparkling clean, and it makes you feel bad for not being like that.
Yeah, and then I think if you don't achieve that, then I don't know, you feel like you don't feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's been having realistic kind of life goals that you can keep up, but then it's kind of what is realistic. So I think it's kind of giving you manageable things, really.
Yeah,
and that everyone can kind of manage.
Yeah, not just you and me, but anybody who is watching the channel, or even the family that we've got that would find it achievable, and not altering the lifestyle so much that we're just that it's obvious.
No.
So we thought about, you know, living realistically, and then what I mean about conscious living, conscious eating, conscious exercise, and conscious budget. I just wanted to talk about those, really. So, conscious living, what did we decide? Things like the car, for example.
Yeah, so do we need 2 cars?
Exactly.
Maybe some of the time, but realistically, no, we don't. So, and I think the only time that we would need 2 cars if we was going on like a big family holiday, maybe a couple of times in the year. And I think we've decided that it doesn't warrant to have 2 cars in the household, really.
No.
So it's just spending unnecessary money on insurance, tax, fuel, and the actual car. So no, we don't need 2 cars.
And I felt that, you know, that's also by conscious living, it was more about environmental impact.
Yeah.
So having 2 cars is a big
it's
environmental
contributing as well to that. So if we don't need it, then I think the best way going forward is to just have 1 car.
So that's one of the decisions we've made, and that might not be realistic for everybody. You have to do what's right for you, but for us, we worked it out that would be a realistic thing we can do, especially when we move, because we'll be right next to a train station and we'll have really easy links, won't we?
And we're in the town centre, so we're quite close to everything. If we want to walk into town, we don't need to take the car, we can just walk to go shopping, and like when we have kind of got all the kids together, like we can just stay local, and if we do want, we have like a planned trip out or something like that, then we can make other kind of provisions and arrangements for getting another car, but in the long run we don't need one.
No. And the other thing is we want to so veganism is not something that I would like to do personally, because I do enjoy meat. However, I do think that there are some things that we can change, especially because of the impact on the environment, and knowing that meat-free days can really have an impact. We've decided to do 2 meat-free days a week, so go completely meat-free, not plant-based, although that would be better. But I mean, we'll try and be as plant-based as possible, but milk and eggs and cheese, I guess, but we'll limit them. Like we you know, if we're cooking vegetarian, cheese will probably be involved. However, I am lactose intolerant, so it might not be as much. So it's just one of those things we'll think about, and we'll try and make those so for it to be realistic, let's try without having meat, and then we can and I think we'll have, like, so far we've been looking at like meal planning, and meat-free Monday feels like such a good thing, doesn't it? So that's probably going to be one of the days, and another.
But it's not only that, like, we do enjoy kind of some like meat-free foods. Like, I enjoy vegetarian food quite a lot,
so we did, and that's why it's realistic. We're not doing anything that we wouldn't normally do, but we're actually just being a bit more conscious about it. So this is the thing, it was that and that's that whole conscious living. So the next thing was conscious eating, so following on from that, and so we have been eating a lot. Not badly, I don't think we eat badly. We've had quite a number of takeaways and stuff.
Definitely in the time of us being together, we've had a lot of takeaways. But I have noticed, like, obviously over like the Christmas period, like the last takeaway we had was on Christmas Eve. But that was a planned takeaway that we planned to have on Christmas Eve, because that's what I normally do on Christmas Eve. We get a takeaway. So we decided to have one, but we haven't had one since. It might not seem like a long time to go without a takeaway, but bearing in mind we were having them kind of like 2 times a week minimum. So it is like that. I think that's it is quite a long time without having a takeaway.
And a lot of that was to do with circumstance, because we're selling the house, and we just thought, well, this is easier than having to unpack everything, etc, etc, etc. However, that is taking time, so that's why we've decided to start sort of now, even though we want to do this when we move. There's no time like the present, is there? So we've decided to make, obviously this impacts budget as well, but meal planning is something we really love doing. And I love knowing what's happening in the week, I can plan for it, I can budget for it. And
it's really nice now knowing that what we're going to have kind of like for the next week, and we know we've got our meals set out, we've shopped for it, so we've got the food in the fridge and the freezer. It's just nice knowing, like, I like kind of structure, so it is, I like it, and I think there's nothing worse than going in the supermarket and just not knowing what to buy for dinner, and then just sticking anything in the trolley, and then I'm probably the worst kind of culprit for it. I'll buy stuff, I won't eat it, because I'll just buy it and think, oh, I'll have that for dinner, and then I change my mind, and so it's just nice knowing that we've got that.
And it's about less waste, isn't it?
Exactly,
so it sort of impacts again on the environment. It's a cyclical thing, and I think how we're again. So the thought process is, if we can plan, we don't waste. So we're planning to not waste the food. I'm terrible as well. I think it might be an ADD thing.
It is. It's an ADHD thing.
So it's a way to break that cycle, isn't it, of wasting food. The amount of stuff that gets chucked away, it drives me nuts. There are other ways that we're going to do that as well, because at the moment we're just planning the meals, buying the stuff, but I think we're going to look at getting a chest freezer in the new house so that we can buy meats in advance and plan the meals around those, but then go and buy everything just to budget a bit better. So meal planning is something that we want to do, but the reason we want to do that is because we want to be more conscious about what goes into our bodies.
Yep.
And it's not about weight loss, but it is about ensuring that we are pertaining the right amount of just a balanced diet.
Yeah.
I hate the word diet, but it is balanced diet. That's what it is, a balanced way of eating. And there's no restrictions. We've made that decision.
We're not weighing, we're not measuring anything.
No.
And
we'll eat whatever we want. Yeah. We'll have, lean meats, fatty meats, chocolate, crisps if we want them.
Yeah, we'll still cook with oil. And
use butter.
And
I think the reason that's more conscious is that I bet you, and it's when you say no to stuff, that's when you want it, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it is.
I don't want it to be
Tell
restrictive.
someone that you are on a restrictive diet, you want everything that you technically can't have.
Exactly. And the funny thing is, this is the funny thing, right? We've decided not to go on a diet. Have we eaten anything awful in the last, we've decided,
just because we know that it's not off limits, and if we want to have it, we can have it. So, but I haven't necessarily reached out for anything that that we can't necessarily have, because we can have
everything. No food is bad food, and also we're trying to do this for your kids in the sense of, we don't want them growing up with being completely thinking that food is bad and food is good.
No food is bad food. It's not. You should be able to eat anything that you want to have. I think the only times we'll say no is if they want to have a big bag of sweets, before dinner, certain things like that. Yeah. They can have it after dinner. We're not saying no. We're just saying you can eat your dinner first.
Yeah, so it's about balance. It's that eating in moderation. Yeah. And it's one of those horrible things that people say, a little bit of what you fancy. But I'd rather do it that way than say...
I know for a fact, right, so if we, after New Year's Day, was right, we are going on a diet and we're going to be really restrictive about what we're eating. I know that I would have wanted to eat all the chocolate. But I'm not on a restrictive diet.
No.
And I can eat what I want, and I haven't eaten any chocolate.
Me neither. Isn't it weird?
I'll eat it if I want to have it, but I haven't felt like any this week at all. So
and do you know what we grapes is our downfall. We prefer to eat fruit.
Yeah, we like a nice crunchy grape, don't we?
Oh yeah. So this is the thing, it's like...
You know where to stop though, I don't.
No, you don't know when to stop with grapes. Yeah, but that's okay. Nobody's ever told people off for eating too much grapes. But it's like, weight loss is not a goal, so therefore we're not measuring and we're not going to weigh ourselves either, because that isn't the aim of this at all. If I even put weight on, I won't know, as long as I start to feel better in myself. Yeah. And a number of this is, and the other side of this is not just about physical health. I've got things that I've got to be worried about. I lost both parents when I was young, so I don't want to be in that position. I also want to be there for, our family as we get older. Yeah. I don't think that food is medicine, which is absolutely a book that I'm reading at the moment, that it can't cure things. And weight loss doesn't necessarily equal health, but you can do things to make yourself healthier. Yeah. And that's not just physically, it's mentally as well, which is why the other thing is about conscious exercise.
Yeah, definitely. And I think exercise, it makes me feel better.
Yeah.
It really, really does. It gives me more energy. Over the last couple of weeks, I haven't felt like I had much energy at all, and I felt quite poorly, quite drained, and I think that's just because I haven't been doing kind of the exercise that I'm used to doing. I did a lot of walking last year, and I never felt better. I felt amazing. I was doing quite a lot of steps. Realistically, I'm probably not going to be doing as much steps as I was doing then, because I was doing something like between 20 and 30,000 a day. But that was because I had the time to do that. I'm not going to have the time to do that, like that amount of steps now. But like I said, it's about setting kind of realistic kind of goals and not feeling that you're underachieving. And obviously realistic for us is 10,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite manageable to do kind of like in our kind of daily life. And I know that I'll kind of reap in the benefits of just feeling great about doing it. So
it helps with sleep, which in turn helps with mental health, which in turn helps with health, and like it's all a knock-on effect. So I always think to myself, you know, I don't know how many of you watching this have ever started to do like little challenges, not even little challenges, so charity challenges, which we will be doing. I did 10,000 steps a day every day in March last year, and I felt amazing. I was sleeping better, I was feeling better in my brain, and to be honest, when I stopped doing it was when I really started to see a decline in my mental health. And it's so hard to be motivated to do it, but the thing that's motivating us is is for us and our mental health, but we've got young people that we want to make sure is also doing it. Like they need to be out, and the happiest I ever see your kids are when they're out. So you know, it makes a big difference. And obviously we've got Rupert, we need to continue to walk him, but it's just the being out more, taking the time to take in our surroundings, etc., etc. And I think the other things we want to do, so we've spoken about the challenges, but you and I both started a few years ago. We didn't know each other, but we both did it weirdly at Couch to 5K. And I always wanted to get into the park runs because I'd heard so many benefits.
I have, and it's something that I would really like to do. Like I said, I started Couch to 5K at the start of last year, and I really, really got into it. And I remember we had like really bad snow. I couldn't go running because the pavements were they were too icy, and you know what, I'm accident prone, so I just didn't trust myself. So I was doing the Couch to 5K running through my house because I was that motivated to do it and not let that knock me back, and I didn't have anywhere else to do it. So I thought, right, I'm just going to do it at home. And I think I did it for one day at home, then I was able to get out again. But I think I got into week 7, really, really enjoying it. And then I had my first COVID jab, and I had a couple of days off, and then I just felt like my chest was really restricted and I couldn't breathe. It was, I don't know whether it was the COVID jab or not, I don't know, but that kind of knocked me back, and then I didn't want to try again because it really, really hurt, like when my chest was hurting. So it's something that I definitely want to start again.
Yeah, and we're not saying we're going to start all now, because we've got to think about realistically what's going on in our lives, and we definitely want to start because we're going to be going away this year, aren't we? We want to be able to just feel a bit better in ourselves because we can do a lot of walking when we're there. So it's just one of those things that we want to just get back onto that, because it's actually quite a nice way to get into it, and it just feels very nice when you achieve it. And I don't know what app you used, but I used an app with I had different people telling me, you know, keep going.
It was the BBC
one.
Official, the official BBC Couch to 5K. I think I
loved
had
Sarah
Millican.
Yeah.
So
I chose different people all the time. I had Michael Johnson, the American, he's an athlete, and he was really good. He kept me motivated so much. So I feel like it's really funny, because even though you don't even know these people, you sort of going, oh, thanks, I'll keep going. So that was one thing, but there was also something that you wanted to do, and I agree, and it also ties in with family time as well, which is swimming.
Yeah, swimming is my exercise. Like, I love it. So I really enjoy taking the kids swimming. And just, I just have such a good time. I really, really struggle though to when I'm doing lengths, I struggle to concentrate. I find there's a lot of distractions. But I think that's obviously down to kind of my ADHD. But yeah, I still enjoy it, and I don't let it put me off. I just have to kind of do something else. So I'll just kind of like change kind of like what stroke I'm doing, or just change it up a little bit. I just can't do the kind of the same repetitive thing all the time. I've also, another way that I really enjoy swimming is aqua aerobics, and I am probably the youngest person there at the class. Everyone else is probably kind of in their 60s, 70s, but they're the most loveliest ladies that I used to go to, and this thing I really want to get back into because I enjoy it so much, and I just have such a fun time. And obviously you're doing exercise as well, which is great. So,
and again, it's that taking time for yourself.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, sometimes you have to just capture a moment. And again, and although this all sounds like, oh, new year, new me, it does sound like that because we're talking about these things. Yeah. We're not saying we're going to do them straight away. No. We're not saying we're going to do them all at once.
Yeah, these are going to be gradual kind of inputs into our lives, kind of like in the next year. Like, we're not saying, right, we're doing all this now. No, we're not.
No.
It's going to be kind of implemented kind of, throughout
small
the year.
steps.
Small steps. Yeah. Manageable kind of chunks.
And realistic, you know, planning and doing, and that for me is the key part of this whole plan for us moving forward. So the other part and the final part is the conscious budget. So we're not on a terrible, like, I'm not on a terrible salary, you're on a good salary, we're both together, we've got a pretty good income, and the house that we've just bought, or I've just bought, is very affordable compared to even your rent. It's lower than your rent, isn't it, at the moment? So, you know, we've got a lot going on. We are going to be getting married in October 23, hopefully. I mean, still, we haven't completely decided, but that feels like the right date. Yeah, hopefully, as long as there's no more coronavirus issues. So we have to save for that, and we have to. I don't want us going into a married life with debt at all. Also would like to overpay on the mortgage in the future, and you know, we're in a really very good position, but what if something happens? So, you know, I want to be very mindful of the budget that I spend. I've had a lot of frivolous months since living on my own and having a very small mortgage and having a good salary. I've been able to just have fun. I've been able to go wherever I want, do whatever I want, and spend whatever I want. I haven't had to think about anything. But now, and realistically, I think there are people out there that are going to be on either similar salaries or less, and I want to show them how to budget, not show them how to budget, show them how we budget as a family. You know, how much we spend on food realistically, especially because of planning, how much we put away for things like if we want to have a takeaway a month, or if we want to get our nails done or get our hair done or whatever we want to do. So things like that I think are really important. I think I've been following a lot of cash stuffers, as you know, because I talk about it a lot more than probably I ought to, and I find their videos really inspirational, and it's amazing what you can achieve if you just really focus on budget. And when I say consciously budget, I don't want to be scrimping and scraping and never spending a penny. That's the thing I don't want to get into, because a lot of people fall into that trap because they're like, I'm scared to spend.
We've set our budget, so we're not going to be doing that.
Yeah. And that is what I want to do. So realistic living, once again, is living to your means, but also ensuring that there's a safety net for the future and a safety net for the children, and you know, things that we just want to do. So we're not combining our salaries into one pay. That's not going to happen, as in, like, we're still earning our own money, but we are going to be budgeting in a way that includes both the salaries, if that makes sense. So it helps to have them together, but we're not getting a joint bank account or anything like that, because at this point in time, keeping our salaries separate is important to us. So that's what we're doing. You know, eventually it would be nice to, you know, buy things outright when we need them.
Yeah, so having to put things on credit.
Yeah. So that's those things. So they're the 4 areas, and what we decided is that we're going to keep this channel as a weekly video every Tuesday at 5 p.m. I feel like that has worked for us, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's worked out really well.
But we're going to intersperse it with other things. So we're going to continue with story times, and story times will just be things that are happening in our lives, or things we might want to answer questions on, or the travel, or you know, going away, or whatever it is.
Yep.
But also vlogging, we're going to do that. So they were the 2 main things on our channel, and I don't think that will change.
No.
We will talk about our lives, and we will talk about our travels, and we will take you with us sometimes. However, we have decided to build out a little bit, haven't we?
Yeah.
And we've gone with Instagram because it's about how we maximise the content that we make. So we still want to make videos that can be done daily, but they're the reels and the shorts. So reels is on Instagram, shorts is on YouTube. We'll create one video that will go on both platforms. We might do some that are YouTube exclusive, we might do some that are Insta exclusive.
Yeah.
That we'll decide when the time comes. Again, we want to be realistic in this, because we are still working parents that are having to navigate lots of other things, as well as move and you know, the daily stuff that you've got in your life anyway.
Yeah.
So things like daily meals, we want to log those, because it's actually good for us to look back on. So that'll be a short. I don't think, you know, like a reel or a short. You don't need to be putting up.
No, they don't need to be long.
No, we don't need long videos. And the other thing that I'm really excited about, and I mentioned, I said, oh, so just to make it a little bit more interesting, because we're doing weekly meal plans, we both like to cook. So we're going to do a recipe roulette every week, where we choose a recipe each from some of the recipe books that we have, and we do it through a random number generator, and that will get the recipe. And I will do it for Emma, and Emma will do it for me, and then we both have to cook those recipes. So they're brand new recipes to us, and it could be that one of them's vegetarian, even though we've got 2 meat-free days. It could be another meat-free day.
Yep.
But then it's just we're playing with the stuff that we've got. And that, again, you know, I don't know about you, but I've got so many cookbooks that I barely use.
Yeah, they're just sitting there, so it'd be nice to actually use them.
Yeah, we've got that lovely Turkish cookbook.
I know,
forgot about that.
which I really, really want to use. I love Turkish food, so it'd be great to use some of the stuff out there.
And then there's also my mum's cookbook. So,
Yeah.
like, you know, it would be really good. And it could be anything. I mean, we might end up with something like tripe. So maybe we need to just be a bit careful. But, like, I guess if it's something we really, really, really dislike, we can roll the roulette wheel again. But I'd prefer if we tried it.
Yeah.
Preferably. Because then we can say we really don't like it. And then we'll have no repeats. So that's what the other thing I'd like to do, is not have a repeat of any meal. So if we've already rolled the roulette dice and it comes out and it's the same thing, then we'll say
so
no.
no repeats. Yes,
Yeah.
it'd be nice to do totally new kind of different things.
And
agree.
we don't dislike much though, do we?
No.
So
Yeah, we've got a very kind of varied food group.
yeah, we've and that's been nice.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about Recipe Roulette. Let us know if it's something you're excited about, because I actually am really excited about that. So that's the content that you're going to get from us. So sort of in summary, this is a mindset change. It's lifelong,
Yeah.
and it's realistic. And do you feel that way?
Definitely, yeah, I totally agree. So, like, I want this to be a lifelong thing about how we live. So I don't want it to be a short-term thing that we're just doing in the new year.
No.
So, and I'm hoping that we kind of, I think, inspire the children as well, with kind of like how we're living, and kind of they can take that on board too. I think that would be great. So, but I'm really, really excited about it all, really. So I think it'll be a great change.
And I think that for our viewers, this will be somewhere that hopefully you will come and you'll see a family just, you know, trying to do their best. And we may not always do it. We may not do everything we set out to do, but that's okay.
Exactly. If things change, that's okay too.
Yeah.
End of the day, we're just a normal family, and we have quite a normal just family life. And I'm hoping that quite a lot of other people, whether they're families or whether they're single or just a couple by themselves, and they can kind of relate to kind of like what we're doing as well, and it'd be nice for them to inspire other people too.
Hopefully, and showing you that some days might be shit.
Yeah,
they are sometimes.
Not every day is perfect,
and some days our mental health won't be good, and sometimes, you know, things are going to change, and and that's the real life aspect of this. That's the whole living realistically part of this. So, sorry, I've got a frog in my throat. Real life. So I'm going to create a hashtag for this in terms of our posts, in terms of if you want to follow that, in terms of, you know, our reels and our shorts. I will put up our new Instagram here, and I'll put it down below. I'll link down all of our links below, but the hashtag will be realistic living, so that it's easy for you to find us. If you ever wanted to find a post on it as well, and hopefully you could do the same and use the same hashtag, realistic living, we can all start to, and I'm sure there's other people that use it anyway, but that is where we're going to be posting primarily, so we can find ways of sharing what we're doing. And if there is anybody doing this, regardless, like, this isn't a new thing surely, but if there's anybody doing it, if you're on YouTube or on Instagram and you're navigating it in the same way, or you're you're documenting it in any way, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. Great. And by the way, we are an LGBT couple, but I wouldn't say that that's the only people we'd watch. So please just, I feel like we're just a normal family. We'll watch anybody. It'd be lovely to have the community grow. So yeah, that's everything. Thank you so much for watching. This has been quite a long video, but I think it's been well worth it.
It's been great.
But we'll see you in the next one. Subscribe if you haven't already. We've just gone over 300 subscribers, which is mad. And give it a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. And we'll see you next time.